This is Chris Elliott with Remax Action Real Estate with another real estate quick tip. So, asked you guys a question, put it out there. What scares you about buying or selling real estate? And one of the top things that I got is when someone is selling, they get scared of property inspections, unexpected cost, unexpected grinding away at their net price during an inspection period. So let's kind of unpack the problem real quick and just kind of explain for those of you that don't know what we're talking about. So in our contract in Central Virginia, there's two negotiation periods in most contracts. There's a third if there's an issue with appraisal, but standard there's two negotiation periods. There's one before property goes under contract. So when you're buying, when you're going back and forth negotiating on price and terms before a contract is ratified, that's the first negotiation period. The second negotiation period is when a property goes under a contract. 90 to 95% of the time there's going to be an inspection period where a buyer is going to come in with their home inspector, they're going to inspect the property, and then they're going to make a request for repairs and/or repairs credits. So the fear that a lot of folks have is, hey, I go under contract with this buyer, we negotiate on X price, and then they come back and they're trying to chip away at me with an inspection, with legitimate, illegitimate items, huge requests, sometimes obnoxious requests. And it's a legitimate problem and it's a legitimate concern because that does happen in our contract period. So I wanted to give you guys 3 things that you can do to kind of help curb that or really just help with this problem. So the first thing that you can do as somebody that's looking to sell your property is before you get it on the market, get the property professionally inspected, just like a buyer is going to do when they get your property under contract. Now, what's the benefit of this to you? You're going to spend somewhere $300 to $500 on this home inspection, but this home inspection is going to save you potentially a whole lot of money if you're able to catch these defects, any needed repairs that you have with your property that maybe you and I can't see with a naked eye, but a home inspector is going to catch it. So if there's major problems that are revealed, guess what? You're gonna have to fix them for the buyer, so you might as well get them fixed before you put the property on the market. The thing that helps too is a lot of buyers get scared away by certain defects, such as mold in the crawl space, structural issues, things a lot of times that can be easily corrected, but it could make a buyer nervous to where they're looking for any reason to get out of the contract, and that's gonna hurt you if you go under contract and you have to go back on the market kind of with that blemish on your record, so to speak. The benefit here too is there's a lot of items, for example, mold, that can be easily corrected by a general contractor, a termite inspector, a super, what's a good way to explain this? You can get stuff fixed for a whole lot cheaper sometimes if you get it fixed before a property goes on the market versus getting it fixed after. The example with mold is that's something that can be easily corrected, but if you get yourself into a contract and a buyer wants to have a certified, qualified, Hoobie-Doo mold remediation specialist that's going to charge you 2 to 3 times what a normal contractor would do, you may have to just eat that to keep the contract together and to keep things moving forward, but that's something you could have corrected and saved that money and saved that aggravation before you even went onto the market. So that's item number 1. Item number 2 is to have your agent screen both the agent and the buyer's agent and also the buyer. So what do I mean by this? And we're not talking about discrimination, but if your agent's been in the business, has done a good amount of transactions, we all kind of know or have some history with certain agents, and we know some agents are easier to work with than others. So for example, if you get 2 to 3 offers, you might ask your agent, hey, which of these 2 to 3 agents have you done business with before? What's been the experience? Are they easy to work with? Do they make everything more difficult than it needs to be? And a lot of times that's half the battle, is the agent on the other side, whether they can, they are obnoxious or not, and do they have the ability to control and influence their clients in a way where they're not making decisions for them, but they're letting them know, hey, X, Y, and Z is not really that big of a deal. We can get it corrected, or this is a legitimate request for repair and this is not. Things of that nature. The other thing is too, when we talk about screening buyers, is looking at, okay, keep in mind when you're evaluating offers that there are 2 negotiation periods in our contract. So if a buyer is trying to really grind away at you at price on the onset before you've even ratified a deal, they're probably going to be doing the same once you get the property under contract. So it's kind of a telltale sign of if they're trying to chip away at for every dollar on the outset, they're probably going to be doing the same, probably going to have the same behavior once you get yourself into a contract. The third thing, just to help with this problem, is just to know that it's coming, okay? So one of the things your agent can do before they list the property is they can show you with all the recent sales, the comparables, when we go over comparative market analysis, they can actually pull the seller concessions for you so you can take a look at, hey, your 3 neighbors sold for X, Y, and Z, but they also gave A, B, and C in seller concessions. So a lot of times in certain neighborhoods, you can see that it's pretty typical for a seller to give away $5,000 to $7,000 in seller concessions, for example. And also too, just know that it's coming. So know that if you negotiate, let's say, X price on the purchase contract, you're going to get chipped away a little bit on the repairs negotiations, more than likely. But if you've done your homework, if you've gotten the property pre-inspected, if your agent's done a good job at screening the buyers and also the buyer's agent, you shouldn't have too many problems, and you won't have this big worry once you get to that part in a contract. So I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.